There's no one like you, God. There's none like you. Into the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you, God. There's none like you. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. If our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? If our God is with us, then what could stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? What could stand against us? Because our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, He's our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, what could stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, what could stand against us? Nothing can stand against. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, He's our God. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, He's our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, what could stand against us? Nothing could stand against us. 'Cause our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God, our God, our God, our God.
right, welcome to Words with Wesley, where we are bringing the word. And remember, you are the salt of the earth, and if the salt loses its flavor, it's good for nothing. I have a few students in here with me today. I'm gonna allow them to introduce themselves as we get started with our topic for today.
I'm Kiki. I'm a senior at TSU.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Lawson. I'm a graduate student at Texas Southern University, getting my master's in kinesiology, and I graduate this May for anybody who want to sing graduation gifts.
All right, see, I like that, man. See, that's something you need to learn. You got to advertise, man. If you don't advertise, you don't receive anything, man. Hey, when you graduate, don't worry. I definitely got you a gift. Yeah, you can count that. You can count on me for that.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about extending the baton. You know, I used to run track back in the day at the great North Shore High School. Y'all not from Texas, so y'all don't know North Shore, but for the most part, you know, North Shore is a top tier school, you know, and one thing I learned from running track back then is you must always train for the race. Y'all would agree?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
All right. And you have to know the rules to the race. You know, if you running a 4x4, you know you can't drop the baton. You know you can't jump the gun. You know, therefore you need a coach, somebody to coach you through, you know what I mean, the race. Am I right or am I wrong?
Correct.
And so today we want to talk about, you know, just passing the baton in life. You know, I know, like, especially in ministry, this is real talk, and I have to talk on this subject because a lot of times preachers have a hard time passing the baton to the next young preacher coming in. But I'm going to tell you, I promise, when it's my time to pass the baton, I'm going to stop preaching. Listen, boys be 70, 80 years old, still trying to preach and hold up the church. The generation done changed 2 or 3 times, and you still preaching the same sermons that you was preaching. Let's just be real. Sometimes it's just time to pass the baton. Real talk. I'm all about passing the baton for the young folks. You know what I'm saying? I just got to put that out there. But I want to ask y'all one question, and I want y'all to expound on that question. Do you have a coach or a mentor that helps you with your life or your career goals or whatever?
Yeah, I would say I have a lot of life coaches. Like we were touching on in our last podcast, my parents, my grandparents, they've always been coaches. But the coaches that I got throughout youth sports, because I played football since 6, I ran track since 4. I just started running track. So, you know, I had a lot of coaches throughout my life. Running for the LA Jets, playing for the Inglewood Jets, going to Dorsey. Coach James, you know, that's one of my coaches. I still talk to him to this day. So he's always giving me advice.
So let me ask you this. If you could think about one thing that you learned from them, what would you say you took away from your coaches and mentors?
One thing that I took away was don't settle. Don't sell yourself short, because at the end of the day, only person gonna reap the benefits or not reap the benefits is you. So, you know, do your best and leave everything out. It's always leave everything out there on the track, because I had a lot of track coaches.
Amen.
So those are the lessons I
leave it all out there.
Yeah.
Empty. I like that. Kiki, you have any life coaches or people who put something into you that you can give out to others?
Me personally, no, I don't. But I would say life would be my life coach. Just coming from where I come from, I just know where I don't want to be again. And my sister is also one of my life coaches. Even though she's younger than me, I want to do better for her.
Right. Okay. Well, see, we can get that together today, because you can definitely have a mentor in me. In fact, I've been trying to do it on the slide and get you ready for ministry. You know, I know you like, I ain't doing no ministry stuff, but you've been around the ministry for a long time, you know, so it's almost like you really just need to, you know, just do something with ministry. I don't know what that is, you know, you never know.
And you're not the first person to tell me that.
You never know. So, you know, I think that a lot of times God placed people in our lives and we don't really realize like this person is a mentor. I'm going to give you a perfect example, right? I have a mentor in my life. In fact, she was assigned to me as a mentor through the United Methodist Church to be my mentor in the process. Now, I was because we always have a expectation of what our mentor should be. And me, I'm gonna just be real. I had expectations that my mentor would be a man. Real talk. As a preacher, but a lot of preachers, I had mentors per se, and I have a lot of them now. But there was one mentor that I kind of was like, okay, maybe she's a mentor, but I didn't really think of how good God had really gave me a mentor for my life, period. And it was one day I was praying in my prayer time, and I was thinking about having a mentor, and God revealed to me, like, this person has been there the whole time. Like, and I have to give her props. Shout out to Pastor Linda Davis, because she has mentored me ever since I started ministry in the United Methodist Church. In fact, she was the first person that I actually met going into the United Methodist Church. And how dedicated she is. She met me in the front of the Toyota Center while I was at work to get all the information she needed for us to do ministry at that particular time. And I have to say, she has invited me in her home. I've become like family. She's become like a mother and a great mentor for life. I've been through some things you wouldn't even imagine, and she has helped me through a lot of hard times in my life. And that's what mentors do. They're there not when you doing the greatest, like for all accolades, when oh, you got this award, you graduated here, but in those low times when it's hard, your mentors can help you press through those hard times. So Kiki, so what statement that do you feel like you can take away from your coaches? You said your sister was an inspiration. What about her inspired you?
Just what she wants to do in life, and how she wants to go about it. It's just different. It's like a different route.
Right.
She wants to be a vet, but she doesn't like animals. So I'm like, okay, so she just wants to be a dog vet. I'm like, okay, well, we can do that.
Well, see, I like that because everyone won't take the same route. Mm-hmm. I was talking about that actually on yesterday. Everyone's journey is different. You know what I mean? So you shouldn't expect, although your mentor went one route, your route may be totally different. Mm-hmm. And while they can coach you on that, you may be not the same runner as them, right? So you have a coach. He may be a long distance runner, right? Mm-hmm. But you're a sprinter. However, he still can coach you. He can help you get to where you need to be. Now, this is the question, and let me give props to Daniel because he changed the course of our conversation today. And this is one of his questions. How can we use what our past generations have taught us to help with our future? You can start to answer that question.
Even though I proposed the question, I didn't really give it too much thought, so it's going to be off the whim. But a lot of it's going to stem back from what I talked about in the last podcast, because a lot of my mentors are my parents, are my people. But,
Wonderful.
Going to college was something that my family pushed me to do. My mom and my dad, those are my mentors. They said college is the way to go. So that was something I strived to do. And now I'm getting my master's. So, I took what they gave me and I extended it further than what I even perceived it to be, because I didn't know anything about no graduate school when I came in 2014 at my undergrad school. But now I'm finna graduate with one. So it's just crazy how things work, how start of one race can end you up somewhere else.
So you got your second win, basically.
Oh, yeah.
In track terms, your second win kicked in. I get that. I like that. Now, Kiki, what can you use from your past generations, good or bad, that help you with your future?
I would just say any advice that any older person gives me, like it could be a stranger, like, oh, this is what I did in my past, and you don't want to do this because this is where I ended up. So just from different experiences, just from a stranger, family members, oh, I did this, and then you don't want to do this, then go this route.
Yeah. I think we can learn a thing or two. And we just came off Black History Month, which we are going to continue with that, learning more about our Black history. But we can learn a lot from our ancestors and what they went through. And I think that oftentimes we disregard history. And sometimes we don't even know the history of our family. So this is the major thing. If your family has some type of issue or some type of thing that has been holding the family down, it's best that you actually know what that is. I'll give you an example. If your family has a history of high blood pressure or sugar diabetes, when you know, that means you should eat better, because technically it should come to you, right? But it don't necessarily have to come to you if you can change the narrative. If you can stop eating salty foods, if you can stop eating unhealthy. I know that's hard. I'm not just sitting here saying that. I'm giving you an example, because the one thing I know is we all like to eat some good food. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to eat healthy, but everybody can't stay little like Kiki and eat. And Kiki, she eats, but it seems like she doesn't get big. So that must be a family gene. Is that a family trait?
No, I'm actually the only one that's like small. Well, my dad is small, but I just have a high metabolism.
Yeah, keep living. That's what they used to tell me. You know, I used to eat everything. And I remember my pastor telling me, he was like, yeah, man, you eat anything right now, but boy, just keep living. And sometimes that stuff do catch up with you. So if you can learn, the Bible says that a wise man learns from others' mistakes. Mm-hmm. Now, it's hard to be that wise person. You know, I recall, again, I talked about this a little bit on last week, but I recall my dad, you know, introducing us to some of his friends who went to prison, right? He would they would talk to us about this thing and how we shouldn't go, and how it's not for a man to be, or a woman to be enslaved again, basically, because it's basically you being enslaved. And I even had a chance to go to Scared Straight. Y'all probably don't even know what Scared Straight is.
I've seen the show.
Okay, y'all seen the show. They take us in there, and they take you in there, and these dudes be screaming at you and stuff. Well, if you a regular dude from the hood, that doesn't bother you. You know what I'm saying? Because number one, you already know they can't hit you. You know they can't do nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't faze me, and I was not as wise enough to learn from all of these things. So sometimes you can be given the tools, you can see all of the things that your family went through, and still not get it. That's a hard pill to swallow right there. Has there been a time in you all's life where you feel like you messed up and you know what I'm saying, you knew better?
Nothing I can think of.
You just been a good child.
I'm not saying
Kiki, hey, it's okay
good
though.
child, but I don't think I made like any major ones, and then the mistakes I did make, I learned from them and didn't do them again. So.
See, that's you just hit the nail on the head. When you make mistakes, you learn from them and don't do them again.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Yeah. Okay. How about you, Dave?
Yeah, every day I know I do something wrong. I'm not perfect, so I would say, every failure is a learning opportunity. So I take any time that I do something wrong or do something bad as a learning experience. I just sit with it for a little bit and see where I could have went wrong, where I could have went right in my wrongs, and how next time I could use a different strategy. But to speak back on what you said about the family, you trying to break up what your family. If you grew up in a household that's always eating this and that and the oxtail, because my mom is from Jamaica, so I eat all the Caribbean foods, all the spices and da. But if that's what you grew up around, that's what you accustomed to, when you eating it, you don't see it as a bad thing.
That's all you know.
Yeah, that's all you know. But when you go to the doctor and doctor telling you, oh, you got hypertension, oh, you got high blood pressure, oh, you got chronic heart diseases and stuff like that. It's like, oh, why? Why is this? This is why, because you're accustomed to eating KFC, Taco Bell, McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Burger King, the whole list. This, just, you know, when you coming home, this just what you get. You don't see nothing wrong with it. So I just feel like nobody has a true understanding of what these corporations, even myself, I know, I have an understanding. I still don't. I still be at Cane's. I still be at.
And all of us do.
Yeah. So it's hard to break that cycle because it's more than just saying to yourself, I'm not gonna eat it.
It has to be a lifestyle change. A lot of Muslims I know, they say this: they eat to live, not live to eat. And you know, it requires discipline. You know what I'm saying? It requires discipline. Even like when you running track and you into sports, it requires discipline. You know what I mean? You cannot just think, oh, I'm gonna get out here today and then I'm gonna win. I recall this story. Mike Tyson, one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. He was getting ready to fight a particular fighter, and the fighter was the underdog. Now this fight was supposed to be in Japan. It was in Japan because nobody thought this was a fight worth seeing in the United States, because they knew that Tyson was gonna murder this guy. And the thing about it was, Tyson didn't take the fight seriously. It says that it's told that him and Bobby Brown was hanging out the night before with 12 Asian chicks. The night before the fight, partying, drinking, doing Lord knows whatever. Just them two. You know, so he got in the fight the next day and he lost. And real talk, that's how it is. If we don't prepare for life, we lose. Now, I want to ask you this before we go into the word, because I think it's very significant. What is it that you should do when you have a mentor? What do you feel like the mentors are there for? You know, because we all have a way that we feel we should be mentored. But what if you're a mentee? What is it that you should be doing if you have a mentor?
I don't know. Just take the advice, really. Or everybody has like their mindset. I was like, oh, I don't want to do that, but you never know what they're talking about until you actually try what they're talking about.
Yeah.
As a mentee, I feel like you should reach out, be available, make a point, take them out on a dinner, you know, just take them out, you know, talk to people, you know, it's just have some quality time and just make memories, and then, you know, get some advice as well, get some wisdom as well during those exchanges. Even if y'all don't go out, just go, just say, oh, what you doing? How you been? Are you available this day? And go see him. That's it.
Yeah. So you're supposed to check in. Yeah. In other words, you got to be hungry, because the mentor can be there, but if you don't use the mentor, it's really on you. You have to be hungry, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Elijah and Elisha. They were in a passing of the baton type of situation. And the one thing I want to bring up is, see, if you don't properly run the race, you get disqualified. If you don't show up on time, disqualified. There are things that in life, if we don't do as the person being mentored, we lose. There's only so much that a mentor can do. As a mentee, you have to be hungry. As we recap and come to a close, we're going to come from 2 Kings 2, beginning at chapter 11, and we'll read down to chapter 15. I really suggest that you all go back home and look over this, because the whole chapter is really phenomenal. And we're going to do a quick review of 2 Kings chapter 2, beginning at verse 11. It says this: as they were walking along and talking together, suddenly a chariot of fire and a horse a fire appeared and separated the two of them, and Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. Elisha saw this and cried out, my father, the chariots and the horsemen of Israel. And Elisha saw him no more. Then he took a hold of his garment and tore it in two. Elisha then picked up Elisha's cloak that had fallen from him and went back and stood on the bank of the Jordan. He took the cloak that had fallen from Elisha and struck the water with it. Where now is the Lord, the God of Elijah? He asked. Then he struck the water and divided the right and to the left and crossed over. The company of the prophets from Jericho who were watching said, the spirit of Elijah rest on Elisha. And they went to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. So what you see here is a passing of the baton. But if you go up and read, you will find out that Elijah told Elisha, like, you need to be here when this transition happens. So in other words, he was in the right place at the right time. In other words, he was willing to put in the work. If you go back up there, he followed Elijah everywhere he went. So if you have a mentor, you need to be following that mentor. Like, you need to be checking out what that mentor is doing. Like, even in our families, and we talking about our families in the future, we need to study our family, to see the mistakes, right? And also to see the good things that they did. You know what I mean? Because there's always a first for everything. There's always the first to go to college. There's always the first to do this or that. The first to own property. The first to do this. And what we have to find out is, how did they do what they did? So somebody's going to come to you, Kiki, because I know you are the first in your family to go to college. So they're going to come to you and say, how did you do it? And you have to be prepared with an answer. And I know it's going to be like you on the spotlight, but you need to tell them, I stayed focused. I did this, I did that. Whatever that your life consists of, that you're going to have to be able to tell them, this is what I did. Now, the one thing I like about Elisha is he was always willing to learn. So you have to always be willing to learn. You can't say, he don't know, she don't know what they talking about, or they don't. No, you have to be a student first. If you go back up and you read in the scriptures, it says that Elisha basically shadowed this man and walked everywhere with this guy because he was willing to learn. He had a goal. And his goal was, he wanted the same thing that Elijah had. He wanted the same spirit that Elijah had. So the thing about I saw is that his mentor told him, listen, this is a hard thing that you ask. You want the spirit that I have. This is a hard thing. However, if you want it, you must be with me when I'm taken up. In other words, be at the right place at the right time. See, oftentimes as individuals, we are not at the right place at the right time. In fact, we probably partying and doing something else other than doing the right thing, especially as college students, right? You know you the first one in your family to go to college, and everybody looking at you. So you got to come out on top, which means you're not going to be able to go the places that other people go. Right? I'm going to give you an example. When I was in prison, there was always a place you had to be. You had to be in the right place at the right time, or you would catch what they like to call an out of place case. And if you catch an out of place case, that means you went to solitary confinement. You went to lockup. So oftentimes there would be guys, you know how it is. Everybody always want to try to buck the rule system and do what they want to do. And then when they end up in solitary confinement, they crying, they mad, they upset. So if you are I said all that to say, if you get out of place, you can't get mad at nobody but yourself. Period. But as we see in the scripture, that Elisha was in the right place at the right time because he constantly stayed following his mentor. He wasn't disqualified. Now, just think about that. Had he not been there at the right place at the right time, he would have not received the cloak of Elijah. And so when he took on this cloak, it actually gave him the same spirit. It says that he was able to part the sea, just like Elijah. Now understand that what happens in this text is, before they go over, they are only able to cross over because Elijah took his cloak and the sea parted. Now think about that. Had he not been there to receive the cloak, he wouldn't have been able to get on the other side. See, I just said something right there. He needed those same tools. He needed the same attributes that his mentor had to go through the sea. See, we all have our own seas. We all have our own obstacles, in other words. We all have our own road that we have to cross, and we need the tools that our mentors can give us to get over. That's why we go to school, right? Because you are learning in college exactly the tools that you need to be successful in this life. And I'm going to leave you with this. When it's your turn to pass the baton, be sure you are ready. Be sure you are ready to mentor someone other than someone in your family. Be sure that you are ready to mentor people who come in your life, that God placed in your life. Like me, man. I'm willing to mentor anybody. It's up to that person. I remember one of my twins, she was thinking about, she was in my youth group, and she was thinking about becoming a youth pastor. So I said, okay, come on with me. Come to work with me. You can see what I do every day. And she was like, cool, I'm coming. And she got with me. She rode with me. She hung out with me. She saw the day in the life of a pastor, right? And then by her coming with me on that one particular day, there was an opportunity presented to her so she could go to a camp with the Wesley Foundation. So, you know, Wesley does the retreats, right? They do all the retreats. And Wesley doing these retreats, what happens is I couldn't go with the PV people, and I hit up my guy and said, listen, Reverend Thompson, I got somebody else that's going to take my place. And he said, cool, send her on. She was able to take my place and watch over college students at the retreat. Now, she said this, man, I don't know how you do this, because this was crazy. And you know what? It ultimately pushed her into her destiny. She moved to Atlanta. She has a great job. She has a home. In fact, I heard she just bought a Tesla. So you know what? She is living her life, but she was not afraid to try some new things. And she tried some things out. She got in there and she got ready. So this is the thing. As mentors, we have to be ready. And as mentees, you also have to be ready and willing to take the baton. This is Word with Wesley saying, take the baton and keep on running.